All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Corsace Open 2024. What was going to be the second match of the tournament? Now it's the first match of the tournament. We are visiting Group A in our group stage week 1 here of the tournament. It is the first match in Group A, the Irishmen 3 versus Bottom Gear in what I think should be a pretty good matchup. These group stages look to be very highly contested, and hopefully this will prove to be true here. I'm this one guy. Joining me for this match is Vordy, and hopefully we'll see some stuff on screen that we can talk about here in a second. Good morning, Mr. Vordy. Welcome.
Thank you for the introduction, Tig. Oh yeah, cool matchup. Interestingly enough, the first match of the group stage we get to see has the highest seeding in the group stages. Obviously, seed 1 through 4 skips first week. They go straight into the bracket stage. But here we have the Irishmen 3, seeding 5th overall in the tourney, which puts them at the highest seeding for anybody in group stage. Up against Bottom Gear, though, seeded 12th, so not too far behind. And if you actually compare their average scores, it's not nothing too big of a gap that it's unsurmountable. Also, the BWS average for the Irishman is a little bit of a scam. I believe one of the players, if you notice, it's actually fixed in the bottom left, but in the BWS average at the top left, it's factoring in somebody who has a different game mode as their primary, so it's a bit skewed. It should be closer to 1,000.
Yeah, I'm actually unsure how that would have happened. I don't know why the site took the wrong rank, but whatever. That still isn't how the API is supposed to work, as far as I'm aware. But whatever. Yeah, it's a bunch of known tournament players on both sides. Anybody who has watched Hippo Cup for the last couple of years will probably have seen teams called the Irishmen, and this team does share most of the same players there. Bottom Gear has Minion Pepsi is now back to creator. That is creator GD or whatever, the Spanish player. His name has been 3 different things in the last couple months now. So hopefully everyone can keep track of what's going on there. I believe we are actually into the match prep phase here. I think we are getting protects out. So hopefully things don't break at all. I believe we had a Hard Rock 2 protect. Of course, this is going to be the first time seeing the pool, so we really don't have a lot of data on what we're kind of going to be expecting to see. There's no common picks and bans when there haven't been yet any picks and bans. But I know we both looked at the pool, and I think it's a pretty well balanced one, as you'd kind of expect for this tournament.
Yeah, plenty of pretty much everything. Nothing too outlandish in the pool. A couple maps with some spicy sections, but they still follow the same kind of skill set you would expect. I think you mentioned Hard Rock 2 got protected. Curious to see from which team. If I had to guess, I'd probably just guess Bottom Gear, but both of these teams did pretty well in the Hard Rock 2 in qualies.
Yeah, I'm trying to load their match page here real quick to see, as we are getting everything kind of going here. There we are. Okay, I'm gonna see.
This can be the Irishmen 3 with the Hard Rock 2 protect.
I just can't open the referee page for this match. I guess because there's already a referee on it, maybe? I don't know. So we've got a Hard Rock 2 protect for the Irishmen, it would appear. And we await the second protect. Like I said, I genuinely, I guess, let me real quick bring up perhaps some qualifier results. The hidden 2 protect for Bottom Gear. They do have some super solid hidden players on that team. You've got a roster of, I feel like generally teams with a lot of experienced tournament players will typically be strong on gimmick picks that you will only usually see in tournament play. Normal players aren't going out looking for precision hard rock. Normal players aren't looking out for low AR hidden. But for tournament players, you can see that with those being the 2 protects, definitely more popular skill sets for these guys to willingly opt into.
Pretty brutal hidden 2 as well. CS 5.8, AR 7.7, and very square jump focus with some pretty long sliders as well. So it's very there's some players who are pretty solid at hidden twos. If it's especially a comfy map, early stage, they'll fare completely fine on it. But already at this first stage, first group stage, yeah, this hidden two is no joke. So you have to be a very proficient low AR player to be able to have a good time on it.
Yeah, and it looks like we also do have our bans in. We have a hidden 3 ban. So your opponent's ban or protect the hidden 2, you go ahead and ban the hidden 3. That one banned by the Irishmen. And then we also have a DT2 ban from Bottom Gear. So not wanting to deal with that kind of stamina heavy pick against the Irishmen, who they've got some pretty solid tapping players on that team, so I can understand that decision.
Yeah, I believe there was a pretty wide gap in the DT2 and qualies, and it's one of those skill sets where if you can't play it as well as your opponent, it's like the lowest probability of an upset compared to some other skill sets. And yeah, especially with some of the players on the team, like you have, believe. Let me bring up the team name. Yeah, I mean Perizia, Spectre, Restia, Zyson, yeah, Doomsday Fan. Like you have plenty of players. They'll be able to put up a really solid 4. I know Bottom Gear has some good tapping players, but I don't know if they have like a full roster for it.
Yeah, I think that's always the question is like, you know, you might have a player or 2 for a pick, but if you don't have a full 4 against a team that looks like they probably do have a 4-man for a certain map, it makes sense to want to go away from that for sure. Maybe ban it out. And it does look like we're getting the protect first pick here for Bottom Gear. So protected hidden 2, and are gonna go ahead and opt into that as the pick. And wow, they're just going straight into it here. Well, that was quick. So we've got Restia Crazy MX 10,000 Spectre against FAW Creator Hinori and Ryu. Map number 1 of what has become match number 1. This very, very tricky small circle low AR, kind of snappy aim, but some control elements to it as well. So this should be a good kind of test for the players to get the match going on a skill set like this.
Rough start for Bottom Gear though. You just have Ryu coming out the gate, holding out the full combo. The rest of the team finding some breaks early on, but in comparison, Irishmen 3 are looking a lot better. Still holding 3 FCs, recovery from Restia. Some pretty low accuracies. It's only really Kurzi who seems comfortable. Spectre does drop as well, matched by Fa. Really up to Ryu in these secondary combos if Bottom Gear wants a chance here. On their protected pick as well, super important pick to win. But with that break from Spectre and MX 10,000, but Ryu matching just Kurzi now with the FC.
And we'll see how long he can hold. That's the biggest combo in the lobby, and Restia is matching Creator. So Crazy is going to keep this score lead on the side of the Irishman. Does find a break, however, not a lot of recovery combo here as of yet for Bottom Gear. It's really just hinging on Creator versus Restia, and Restia is the one to break. So Creator, despite looking incredibly uncomfortable down at the B rank, 93 accuracy, is holding the biggest combo on that side and can try to drag the score over, as there is virtually no combo over on the Irishman's side.
This is a rough map, though, to be forced to combo with Nerves, especially. I think that might be... Was that a DC?
Oh!
I don't know if that was a DC or a client.
I mean, he's just gone.
Just... Okay, that's a little bit unfortunate, because that was the biggest score, I believe, for the side of Irishman 3.
Yeah, he left the match. Well... That's going to be rough.
Interesting. Meanwhile, though, on the side of Bottom Gear, Creator is still holding. The Nerves did not get to them. 600 combo now. Accuracy, not a worry.
This one's obviously going to go the way of Bottom Gear now. There's not really a lot that you can do 3v4 as the Irishman in this situation. We'll have to see if Crazy still has a local score from this once the map ends. to add in. Might end up playing a factor in the outcome of this one. But with it being a 300 probably K victory for bottom gear on this, this is gonna be very interesting.
I mean, with the recovery from bottom gear, I think potentially even if Kersey submitted, it might have gone their way. It would be close though for sure.
Yeah, because so the final margin was 611K. I highly doubt that. Oh, wait, does that actually have the right score? Oh, it probably kept, okay, so the bottom of our screen kept the score from when he DC'd, yep. I think. So yeah, unless he got 600K, which would have been best in the lobby by 100K, there was no way for, oh, that was weird. There was no way for Irishmen to win that. So we're just gonna go with that being a held point on the protect from bottom gear, and they'll take a 1-0 advantage.
Yeah, I assume so. I think unless there's a finished local that shows the score gain. I think fortunately, because it always sucks when there's a DC that loses them a point, I always hope that, you know, the DC doesn't influence the outcome, and just gonna pray that happened.
Yeah, I'm just gonna assume that it didn't affect anything because he would have needed such a high score, so we're just gonna not be too concerned about it. It is going to be, of course, the first pick to come for the Irishmen. Protected the Hard Rock 2. We'll see if they first pick that. There's different schools of thought on when to pick a protect. Some people like to pick it first and get like an early point on the board if they think it's super strong. Some people save it as like, okay, we're up a break point. We need to consolidate it. Let's use Arc Protect here. Bottom gear taking the first kind of school of thought there. We'll see if the same is true.
This stage has the second round of bans, right? After the 4 picks.
Yeah. Yeah.
In that case, I feel like you just have to do it in your first 2 picks, right? I mean, you can deliberate on first or second, but if you protect a map and then you don't pick it until the next set of bans, then they could just ban it.
Well, no, it's protected.
Actually, no, yeah, no, you're right. Actually,
it's literally protected, Bordy.
Yeah, my bad. But for some reason, I'm thinking
that is the whole point of a protect.
Yeah, no, you're right. Mind laughs. Oops. In that case, yeah, I don't know. I honestly think both strats are cool. I think there's something nice though about just starting a match with a win. Yeah. It's just good momentum. You have that point on the board. You know they're not undefeatable. You win that first map. You know they're not infallible, even if it looks like a tough matchup. So I kind of like it. But yeah, as you mentioned, schools of thought, both strats are definitely fair. It's also like if you are in an even matchup and your opponent has used their protect and you haven't, you kind of have that trump card that you could pull out at any time, and that could be mental pressure for the opposite team.
And well, we'll see. Looks like we are still waiting. For worth noting, the final score for Crazy on that last pick was 523K. So he actually did top score the lobby. He did top score the lobby, but he was still 80K or something short. So didn't actually matter. That's like very sad to see. It could have been a super close outcome, but just not quite enough.
Yeah, it's still way better that it didn't influence the outcome of who won the point. That's the most important thing. But it's still, big props for top scoring.
It looks like we're getting a Hard Rock 1 as the first pick here for the Irishmen. So they protect the Hard Rock 2, decide to opt into the Hard Rock 1 first pick. Hakume Dualism, pretty generic Hard Rock 1 realistically, mostly just an aim consistency map, nearly 4 minutes long, 205 BPM. Nothing too out of the ordinary for this one. Very much what you would anticipate, I think, from a kind of traditional slot pool Hard Rock 1.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, pretty much as you said, nothing too special. But, Hard Rock 1s, especially that tend to be nearing the 7-star mark or surpassing it, pretty tough to be consistent on when you only have 1 attempt. So I believe Irishmen 3 have some fantastic Hard Rock players. They have the Hard Rock roster for it. But I mean, I think at the same time, Hard Rock 1 is one of the more common skill sets. You're not going to find teams that like don't have four people who can at least play it. Bottom gear is going to have 4 players who can competently play Hard Rock Aim, so it's always a little bit risky because you might have some silly misses. They might have a couple lucky combos and might lose a pick that way.
Yeah, it's kind of like picking a Nomad 1 in that regard, where generally speaking, like everyone will at least be able to play it to some level, and it always feels like a little bit of a scary pick. Unless you just have some sort of absolutely cracked out aim roster that's going to FC the map 100% of the time, but that's almost never the case unless your team is like actually a super team and they're playing a sub 7-star pool or something. In a matchup like this, I think you're definitely going to expect a lot of players who are going to be at a similar level, and that's a lot of breaks on that early pattern. Wow.
I think it was an overtap. It was a burst into a slider, but there was a pause. So I think a bunch of people just overtapped it and hit the slider way too early. Which is a little bit alarming because you would have presumably known that if you'd played the map for 10 seconds. Maybe this is a site raid? I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know, unless there's literally like 6 people in the lobby who are sight reading this. That's not the sort of thing you should probably be missing on, but chalk it up to tournament nerves and move on with our lives, I guess. Another break coming in from a couple of players, though. Trumpetino and Doomsday Fanboy. Before we get to this first Ki, Mahmood falling as well, so it's down to just Creator on the side of bottom gear. Meanwhile, you do have the decent combo on both Pain, and now Zason goes. This is proving a very challenging pick for virtually everyone, Gordy. We're seeing a lot of breaks.
A lot of breaks, and once again, it's Creator on the side of bottom gear. As I say that, he breaks. My bad. My bad. I was trying to hype him up. Obviously held the biggest combo for his team in Division 2. Does break, though, and now that leaves Pain as the biggest combo left, but I don't think anybody's on an FC now.
Yeah, there's no full combos in the lobby. Pain's a recover from that break at the very start, I believe. Getting a lot of recovery combo, though, now from the Irishmen. Meanwhile, Trumpetino Creator continuing to have difficulty. Lead of 120k, 140k on a map like this halfway through is reasonable, because it's a 4-minute long map, so the score gaps don't grow as big as fast as they may otherwise. But bottom gear really seems to be struggling with the aim, and even some of the tapping, those little 4-note bursts causing some act drops and some breaks into the aim here as well.
And the combo for Irishman 3 is now way ahead of bottom gear. Already almost a 300k lead now, and it's just going to grow larger as Pain is on a nuts recovery. Doomsday Fanboy and Zyson as well, over 500 combo. It's just Hanori here on bottom gear to do anything to stop this onslaught, but unless we get a full reset, I don't think it's enough.
Yeah, this is looking like pretty unwinnable at this point for bottom gear. Irishmen have performed quite well. They've performed like well enough, I suppose, right? It's an adequately good performance. You've got a really good combo from Pain, but they're also benefiting a lot from bottom gear just not having a good time with this pick at all. See what they can do into the ending, the last section of the map to come. Pain on that 1100 combo, Zason and Doomsday Fanboy up at 900. So it is going to be a pretty reasonable score once all is said and done for the Irishmen. You can see why they first picked this. The comfort level just looks a lot higher on that side of the board.
Yeah, I mean, there was some issues in the intro, but they have now warmed up to the hard rock game and are showing some fantastic levels of comfort here. Pain looking to reverse choke this.
Yeah, we'll see. I believe it was just that break right at the very start of this. I forget offhand what the max combo is, but so you gotta give props to Zason, though he did break there at the end, and Doomsday Fanboy for some solid combos of their own. But best score in the lobby is going to go to Pain by a pretty sizable margin, and that's a 1,000,000 score victory on that first pick for the Irishmen. So really well done to them. Pain with the S rank, in fact, so it was just the slider break at the start.
Yeah, really solid performance from the Irishmen. I think that was a more than a 1 million score lead. So
yeah, that was absolutely not close.
One miss though from Creator and Mahmood, so decent efforts.
I think there's got to be some slider breaks in there though. Because judging by the combo, like there's not really a way for those to not have some slider breaks included as well. But Both teams starting off the match pretty comfortably. I mean, you gotta. I think that Irishmen, a little stronger on their own first pick than Bottom Gear was on theirs, with the gap being 1 million versus the gap being something like 80,000. Scores universally higher on a Hard Rock 1 than on a Hidden 2, so that to be taken into account as well. But it looked very much like the Irishmen knew what they were doing very, very well, I suppose, on their own first pick. So we'll see as we'll go back over to Bottom Gear. You first picked a Hidden 2, end up with a pretty close fight on it. Hidden 3, of course, was banned out, not showing on the screen, but that was the first ban from the Irishmen. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was Hidden 3. So Hidden 1, the other hidden option if they want to go into back into that pool, or maybe a free mod as another alternative.
Yeah, I mean, Hidden 1 isn't bad. It is rough though, because you obviously just lose a pretty generic aim map. Hidden 1, obviously hidden, but AR 9.7 does have some hidden flow aim. That definitely makes it more difficult, but I think it's definitely going to be more in the field of comfort for the Irishman 3, but Bottom Gear does go Nomad 3 instead, so leaning into alt, which is quite interesting. Normally, when you have a matchup that is a higher seeded team versus a lower seeded team, it tends to be the higher seeded team who picks the more gimmicky skill sets, and the lower seeded team who goes for more mechanics, but we're seeing a bit of the reverse.
I think given the teams here, like, regardless of the actual seeding, it does feel like, and it has already looked like, Irishmen are just a mechanically, like, the superior mechanics team. So I guess I can understand it. If you're Bottom Gear, you don't, especially after what just happened on the aim pick, like, you're definitely not going to want to pick into aim. And they banned out speed, so they clearly don't want to go into that skill set either. So what does that leave? Some more gimmicky maps. We'll see if we get, like, stuff like tech picks at any point in this. But yeah, Nomad 3, this is like such a standard Nomad 3 though, right? Type of alt that I think a lot of modern tournament players are going to be more than comfortable with. So I think, again, this is one that you're likely to expect both teams to have plenty of people for.
Yeah, for sure. Nothing too unusual about it. Relatively low BPM as well for an alt map. So if somebody's super fast, they can go for the option of single tapping it. But with how long some of the patterns are, it would still be pretty difficult to do. I'll be looking at the beginning if anybody is. And it looks like MX10000 is going the single tap Donnie strat. Respectable.
Yeah, mad props to anyone who single taps Nomad 3s. Could not be me. Incapable.
Oh, no. I think they're going hybrid. Some of them they're ulting, some of them they're single tapping. Pretty cool though.
Yeah, I see. Yep, they are indeed. All right, well, it's fine. I'm not gonna flame him for it because that's just normal, but
Yeah.
a little less impressive than single tapping the whole way through. Early break from Creator, gonna be the first to fall in the lobby on one of those little control aim patterns. Restia gonna follow up though. Did have very, very early breaks from Rio and Antonio, but those were like right at the start.
Yeah, those shouldn't matter too much. So discounting those early breaks, it's pretty much even with Creator and Restia missing around the same time. Spectre and Antonio trading, Ryu dropping as well, so it's now just Mahmood to match the FCs from Doomsday Fanboy and MX10000. Does break though, so that leaves a huge advantage out the gate for the Irishman 3.
Yeah, this is going to be massive. We'll see how long MX10000 and Doomsday Fanboy can hold on, because those combos are just 100% unopposed. It takes basically the entirety of Bottom Gear to match one of those FC combos, so they're going to be in a very good spot here as we hit the 1/3 mark, this little slow section before the map starts up again. You are going to see already a 200k lead growing. And the recovery combo is there as well for Restia and Spectre. So it's going to be a lot of work for Bottom Gear. They're in danger in this point already.
Yeah, just at the halfway point, it's already looking like Bottom Gear desperately needs some breaks out the gate from Irishman 3. I mean, they have the recoveries, right? They have Creator almost at 600. The rest of the team's above 300 now. So if Doomsday Fanboy or MX10000 breaks, the chance is still there. And there it is. There's the first break, much needed for Bottom Gear. It's just Doomsday Fanboy to hold, but I believe the score lead is now slowly maneuvering towards bottom gear. Unfortunately, with that break from Creator, it's not going to anymore.
Yeah, it's going to require more breaks now from the Irishmen with Creator missing there. Still a quarter of the map to go, still a decent amount of time, and the ending of this really does not let up on you at all, so there's a lot of combos still to come. But Doomsday Fanboy, if he holds on, it's going to be crucial for the Irishmen here with the support of Spectre and Restia. You've got a lot of combo building up on those 3 members of bottom gear to try to whittle away at this lead, but with it being nearly 400k still, I just don't know that they're going to have the time to do anything about it, especially with all 3 of those players on Irishmen still holding.
And especially with those breaks from Ryu and
that's
it's
just
not really just Antonio, and yeah, there it is. Doomsday Fanboy at this point. Just a case to see if he will FC.
It's a really nice play from Doomsday Fanboy. Irishmen getting some very solid plays from a couple players early on here on the Hard Rock 1 and now on the Nomad 3. The reverse choke, and Doomsday Fanboy looking to FC. Just got to make it through this ending, which is pretty straightforward. And there he is. Going to be the first FC of the tournament in the brackets, or the group stage, I guess. It is going to go to Doomsday Fanboy here on the Nomad 3. Well performed to him, well executed for all of Irishmen, really solid team scores all over 500k with no one over 500k for bottom gear. Not a great look for them on their own pick. Irishmen take the early break point. It's going to be a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, very convincing way to take the first break point and taking the lead. Having every single player on your team outperform the best performer of your opponent and an FC. Can't really ask for much more than that.
And now,
Irishman, 3 now to pick.
This is where you pick your protect. You got your break point. You want to consolidate it. I feel like this is where you pick your protect.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good strat. If you ever get a break point early, you just make the lead bigger. Always a good time to do so.
Be really nice to take a 3-1 lead into the second ban phase. I think that would be. You get the momentum going in. You get to maybe ban out something that you're not the strongest on, and then you can come back in the second phase of picks with a really crystallized strat. Taking a moment here on the pick.
Yeah, taking the time. I mean, I wonder if they go for something tapping heavy. I mean, considering bottom gear banned out the DT2, I think another strat is you go for something like a Nomad 5 before it gets banned out, because obviously you can still pick your Hard Rock 2 after the second set of bans. So going for the Nomad 5 before it gets banned out could be the strat. Could also go for something like a DT3, which isn't really full speed but has elements of it, but could definitely imagine
DT3 a little more finger control-y. I think if you're worried about mechanics getting banned out, the Nomad 5 I think would be the way to go. It looks like are they picking Hard Rock 3?
Oh, and actually, this actually also makes sense because they just won the alt pick. They're more comfortable on Hard Rock overall, and this is a Hard Rock alt map, so yeah, good pick.
Combine 2 skill sets that we know they feel pretty good about. I understand it. And they'll still have the Hard Rock 2 available to them. If there was ever a world where bottom gear might have banned out Hard Rock 3 in the second ban phase, and now that world is gone. I definitely can understand the logic behind this pick. Should be pretty good one for them. This will be the shortest map that we'll have seen as well. This one's sub 2 minutes, so it's a pretty quick one. A lot less of the consistency elements that we've seen in the first couple of maps where it's been, a 4-minute Hard Rock 1 and a 3.5-minute Nomad 3 and things like that.
Yeah, a lot more volatile of a pick, but it fits the 2 things they've shown to be comparatively pretty strong at. A lot higher BPM of an alt map than the Nomad 3. This is 174, so it's bordering on the BPM of like almost an entry stream BPM. But from the patterns, definitely still an alt map in much shorter patterns, but a lot faster.
We're gonna go into it. Rusty, Pain, Crazy, Doomsday Fanboy, FAW creator Antonio, and Ryu. Couple early traded breaks. Crazy, FAW, Pain, Rusty, Ryu, Antonio. My goodness, everyone is falling in the beginning here. The control required for this one is pretty challenging. The little wiggle patterns and stuff. Very easy to just miss aim or even slightly miss tap. So the kind of tapping with the spacing changes can be a little bit challenging. And it is just Doomsday Fanboy with the lone full combo in the lobby already. Crazy backing him up with a, just early break right at the very start. And this is looking brutal. 40, this is looking brutal for Bottom Gear, who have already had about 7 misses.
Doomsday Fanboy does break. It's still Restia to hold, but it's just such a brutal skill set. This is such a high BPM for ult. I mean, I think traditionally in the Nomad 3 slot, you don't really ever see the BPM go above 160, which is like an equivalent 320. But this is 174. It's just controlling your cursor at the speeds you have to hit those wiggles. Not many can do, but Restia on the biggest combo now, and really just no big combos on the side of bottom geared match.
No, and with Irishmen having taken the early lead already, there was kind of never going to be much that it feels like Bottom Gear could do. They would have had to start recovering combos so much earlier than they have here with Creator and Ryu finally building up a little bit. But when you're trying to do anything about a 700k lead and your opponent still have combo, it's just not going to be enough to have a 400 and a 370. This is a very good pick from Irishmen, like we talked about. I think it looked for all the world on paper like it was a solid pick for them, and it is turning out that way in actuality as well. This is going to be another very one-sided pick, much like the Hard Rock 1 was. This Irishman 3 team so good at Hard Rock, and that's going to be a 1.2 million score victory. It's going to consolidate them the break point for a 3-1 lead, and it's a reverse choke for Restia. 3 misses right at the start, 918k total score to lead the lobby, and man, those bottom gear scores, they were very clearly uncomfortable with this pick. Great pick for my Irishman here.
It's another situation similar to the Nomad 3. You have in this case, a near FC instead of a full combo, but then the rest of the team all just putting up really solid scores, beating out the best performer on the side of bottom gear, who by good margin was Creator. 3 missing, pretty solid score, but just the team gap is pretty wild here.
That one is a very ugly looking scoreline. 1.16 million gap. Oh, the audio. Okay. So players do get a little bit of a break here. We go to the second ban phase. 1 ban per team. Irishmen will have their choice of ban, which feels like it could be just about anything. I would think maybe you'd ban out like the free mod or something, just if it's like a hidden favorite type of map. It doesn't feel like, the only point obviously that Bottom Gear won so far was that hidden 2, and that was relatively close. So it kind of doesn't feel like there's anything that Irishmen need to ban, and this is kind of just a comfort ban for them.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. You could ban Hidden 1 if you just don't want to play Hidden. Obviously, Free Mod 2 is probably the best Free Mod ban if you also want to avoid some low AR. But at the same time, for Free Mod 2, they have the option of overmodding Hard Rock if they want to. I'm just putting Kersey on the Hidden, and then the rest of the lineup could go Hard Rock if they wanted.
We'll see. We're going to be asking for their ban. It's Nomad 5? What? I've never seen. I don't think I've ever in my life seen a team get DT2 banned against them and then ban Nomad 5 themselves. That might be a first. I'm actually just dumbfounded.
Weirdly enough, I think I've seen that happen before, and I was just as confused the first time. I mean, yeah, I guess if they don't want to play Nomad 5, it does have a weird alt section that's kind of missable. Nothing that I don't think the players on Irishman 3 can play, or can't play, so should still be fine for them. But I guess they just don't want to... Maybe they didn't want to play speed the whole time. Maybe their tapping players just aren't warm, so maybe they were excited about the DT2 ban.
And we're just backwards. Those are the exact opposite of the bans I expected. I thought it would be Irishman banning Free Mod 2, Bottom Gear banning Nomad 5, and it's just gone the opposite way. I'm so confused right now. My brain is broken. It's going to be a hidden 1 pick for Bottom Gear. That actually does make sense. Thank you, guys. My brain is back to functioning.
Yep, that I can get behind. If your only win so far is Hidden 2, which is primarily aim hidden, then yeah, go for the hidden aim map. Can't argue with that.
Yeah, this one, just kind of a traditional hidden 1. I thought of it as being like maybe like a kick slider aim hidden one. There's a lot of kick slider jumps in this one, but other than that, it's kind of your standard aim heavy, not super. I don't feel like it's not dense like a lot of hidden ones. It's there 9.7, but other than that, it's pretty bog standard hidden one. Good song though, big fan.
Yeah, pretty good song. It's fun map as well. Nothing. I would say for a hidden one, it's a lot more comfortable. The Nomad one actually in this pool is more of a hidden one in terms of aim, in terms of the patterns. This one though, AR 9.7, 200 BPM, so not super dense. I think 100% the most missable part of this map will probably be the flow aim. Flow aim on hidden tends to be already harder comparatively than aim on hidden, especially this AR. So I expect to see somebody chain missing on one of those streams.
Yeah, can agree. I think full aim hidden, it's just so easy to miss on, man. I don't know. But looks like. Oh, I didn't scroll down. I was like, why are we starting? And then I realized because we're supposed to be starting. My chat was not scrolled down to see that the players had readied and everybody was set to go. So we'll get into it. Rusty Pain, Spectre, MX-10000, Hanoi Creator, Antonio Ryu. I don't want to say like a must-win yet necessarily for bottom gear since this is best of 11, so they still have at least one more pick after, but really need to kind of right the ship here as the momentum has gone pretty heavily the way of Irishmen, winning 3 picks in a row, and in pretty dominant fashion on both of the picks of their own as well. So really got to see what bottom gear is capable of here to try to make their way back into this match a little bit. Early breaks from Antonio and Ryu, however, not going to be helping that out.
I would say though, considering Irishmen 3 have their protected picks still available, if they go 4-2, 4-1 after this, and then they can go 5-1 from their protected, it's looking pretty grim. So it has a lot of pressure on bottom gear, and with those 2 breaks from Ryu and Antonio, just leaving Creator and Hinori here with full combos up against the current 4-way from Irishmen 3. With a pain from drop though, it's going to slow down the damage.
Wait, drop right before the slow part too. It's unfortunate to lose out on some free combo here, but with Antonio and Ryu just having broken a little before, it's not going to be like the end of the world. Pain also has the worst accuracy. Oh, Spectre and MX-10000. Okay, right as we get back into it. Restia now
the opportunity. Hinori dropping though just leaves Creator and Restia with the 1v1 on the full combos. Both players holding very good accuracies. But right now the supporting combos are actually in favor of bottom gear with Ryu and Antonio.
See what kind of recover combo you can get out of these teams. Restia no FC any longer now with the break, so bottom gear in the driver's seat for the first time in a while in this match. They've been sitting kind of at the back. Now though, taking a sizable lead at that, a couple 100,000 points. Good combos on everyone. Creator still on that FC, Ryu and Antonio on the big recoveries as well. Hinori doing quite well for himself now. Also, looking like bottom gear is going to put a second point up on the board here, though this will exhaust the hidden pool, so keep that in mind. But a point's a point, no matter what the rest of the pool looks like going forward. It's always better to have a point than to not have a point.
And at this pace, it looks like a point in a dominant fashion. They won the hidden 2 by a small margin when you factor in Jersey's score, but here they're putting on quite a show. Creator is still holding the full combo. The rest of the team now looking so good in this last section. Over 600k score margin and just increasing, so there was a way to kind of take back the momentum. This is a great way to do it.
And into the ending with these longer streamy bursty sections just to close things out here. It's going to be a whole bunch of breaks. Oh,
huge FC from Creator, man.
That was really well done from Creator. Finally getting like a big score. That's the first like meaningful play, it feels like, that anyone's really gotten on bottom gear in this match now 5 maps in. They hadn't had an FC. I think their highest score up to this point had been maybe like a 600k or something. And so to drop an FC and 2 near 700ks from your supporting players as well as Hinori at a near 600k, gonna feel a lot better for bottom gear. I'm not sure what this will necessarily lead them into going forward, but it at least lets them, kind of slow the momentum that Irishmen had been building up, gets a second point on the board, keeps the match within just the 1 point margin. So that's exactly what they needed getting into the second half of this one.
99.77% accuracy as well is pretty fantastic from that play. If I don't know if that map is ranked, but that would definitely be a leaderboard score if it was. But yeah, as you mentioned, interesting to see what they'll go for their next pick. I think they could go for Hidden 1 if they just want to... Nomad 1, if they want to lean into some aim consistency. Obviously, it doesn't have the streams, it doesn't have the hidden element, but it looked pretty good on the aim consistency there, so I could expect to see that pick. And because it has a bit of anti-aim, some awkward aim there, might lean into their strengths. But Irishmen to pick first, and they could just go Hard Rock 2 here to stop the momentum.
Yeah, I mean, we've just kind of been waiting on their Protect to get picked sooner or later. It feels like it's got to be now, right? Yep, it is indeed going to be that Hard Rock 2. So they've been sitting on the Protect through their first couple of picks. Now as we get into the second stage of the picks in this match, they are going to opt into it. So this is going to be the final Hard Rock. They won the first 2 Hard Rocks by 1,000,000 points each. Based on the performance of Bottom Gear on those 2 maps, no real reason to expect that not to continue. This is quite a challenging precision Hard Rock pick, but Irishmen look more than up to the task so far.
Yeah, so far their Hard Rock performance has been quite phenomenal. And especially because this is the precision pick, it really emphasizes the hard rockiness of the Hard Rock. So
the Hard Rockiness.
There is a... Yeah.
That's great. I love it. Well, let's see here. Who are we going to see? I'd like to see if Bottom Gear can at least maybe make this kind of competitive, though. I mean, the first 2 Hard Rocks just were completely not at all that. This one, like you said, it emphasizes the hard rockiness of the Hard Rock with it being that precision. So it's a little more of a challenge in a different way than the other Hard Rock maps we've seen so far. Maybe it's in a way that secretly favors Bottom Gear more than we might have expected.
I mean, that would be a surprise for sure. I would say a harder map than Hard Rock 1 as well, considering its star rating. Star rating for 6.5s, I would say usually you expect to see a little bit lower of a star rating compared to the Hard Rock 1, if the Hard Rock 1 is generic, but I think in this case, this one comes out a little bit higher in SR. Nothing too gimmicky, just pretty much conventional, difficult precision.
Yeah, it's this is at the end of the day a relative early stage pool, so you're not going to see the extremes to quite the extent you might later on in the tournament, but it will be a challenge no matter what. And you can see already a couple breaks early on. Crazy Zason and Antonio all falling in the first 200 combo. It's going to give the advantage to Bottom Gear to start this one off. Maybe I was onto something. Who knows?
Maybe you were. Just over 2 minutes of 6.5. It's already innately volatile, which I think favors the underdog in the matchup. Hanorian Creator, though, breaking. It's now just Mahmood on I think a recovery. I think it was a very, very early miss. Dyson misses as well, though, so 2 big combos on either team, but obviously favoring the 2 FCs for Irishmen.
Yeah, they also have a really good recovery combo on Crazy. He was at 300 there, so he built up some score for them as well. It is, though, just going to be Restia. It's Restia against Mahmood in essentially a 1v1, and they both break at the same time, so we're just deprived of a dramatic 1v1. Unfortunately, it's essentially the whole lobby having reset in the last couple hundred combo. And that's going to favor Irishmen with the score lead already and the decent combo being built up by 2 of their members now. They're going to be in an all right spot. With a quarter way to go, it's going to be just about 170k lead.
Yeah, with the amount of time that's left, I don't think Bottom Gear can do it. I mean, they're swinging the score back right now because Kersey broke. Hanorian Creator are holding.
It's coming down.
I think there's a chance here. If they can really hold on, cling on to these recovery combos, and Irishmen get some misses, there's a possibility.
It's all on Honore and Creator. They've got those big combos. Antonio breaks crazy, trades it out. And it might just be enough for Irishmen to hold on here, though. That timer's going to run out on bottom gear trying to make the comeback on this, and it ends up being only 60k, but it does end up being the Irishmen to take the point. Boy, the opportunities were there for bottom gear, just couldn't quite take advantage of it. Shoutouts Rusty, the S rank, 640k, slider breaks only. And just the smallest of margins on that one. Our closest map so far, I believe, or at least close to it, depending on the hidden two. But Irishmen hold on. They maintain that breakpoint advantage.
I mean, you mentioned you wanted this pick to be close,
I did.
as opposed to the other Hard Rocks, and it happened. That was a well thought.
As you said, the most volatile of the Hard Rocks really lived up to its billing.
Especially in 4v4s, 6.5s, just... If there's a pick where anything can happen, it's picks like those. It almost did. But Irishmen now up 4-2. I think on the overlay, I think it has space for 7 wins, but I'm pretty sure they just need 6.
Yeah,
so they're 2 wins away.
Yeah. There's gonna be... They're 2 points away, so... Never say never. It's only 1 break point. Anything could still happen. Gotta get a good pick here if you're bottom gear, though. Got the hidden 1 win, got the hidden 2 win. Hidden 3 is banned out, so you do not have that as an option. Free mod 2 banned out as well, so there is the free mod 1 if you want to... The only other map remaining that you can go hidden on, because it feels like that might just be the direction, unfortunately. It's, I want to say 1 hidden, 1 hard rock requirement, so it's not anything like force hidden craziness.
I don't know if you want to go free mod 1 though. Yeah, they go for Nomad 1. Nomad 1 is the pick I mentioned earlier, considering the hidden 1 win. You just lean in to that same skill set. The reason I don't like free mod 1 for them is it's an alt map, and the 2 alt maps they've played so far, the Hard Rock 3, the Nomad 3, they lost by quite a good margin. So I think they just have to respect Irishman's ability to play alts, and yeah, leaning into Nomad 1 aim worked well for them on the hidden 1. Obviously pretty different maps, but this is the closest you're going to get.
My only concern with the Nomad 1 is that Irishmen won the Hard Rock 1, and it was not particularly close. And similarly, that is a just raw aim test. And very, not a whole lot else going on. Very few, burster streams or anything. It's pretty much just straightforward aim. Hard Rock 1 205 BPM, this one 220 BPM, 7.16, 6.96 stars. So, some subtle differences, obviously. But I don't know, raw aim, even with the hidden 1 going the way it did on a more mechanics-focused test, I think that was not that similar to this Nomad 1. So while I do understand and I can get behind thinking that, okay, we won a hidden 1 that was a generic mechanics map, let's go into Nomad 1, which is a mechanics map, I think the mechanics between them are different enough that this doesn't feel super advantaged even though they won that last map.
Yeah, it's probably closer to the Hard Rock 1 than the hidden 1. And yeah, for that reason. If there's something about this though that's good, it has some awkward aim patterns, but obviously because it's Nomad, relatively comfortable pro trading shouldn't make it too bad.
Yeah, this is a little less like comfy aim focused than a lot of Nomad ones, which is very interesting. But it is a trend that we've seen in some other big tournaments over the past year or two. Like, I guess anyway, OWC last year had some pretty uncomfy aim Nomad ones, and like we've seen that in Corsace Closed as well. But it is still going to be a mechanics aim map. However, early break does come out from MX 10,000. The accuracy suffering a bit for bottom gear, but the second break has already occurred for Irishmen. They're down to just 2 FCs and we're only 300 combo in. We'll see if that means that they're a little less comfortable with this map than they'd like to be, or if it's just early map bad luck.
We'll see, but regardless, good start for bottom gear. Everybody getting through that for bottom gear, but Restia breaking. It's now just Doomsday Fanboy left for the full combo for Irishmen 3. And a really good start for bottom gear, but you never want to, count your chickens too early. As creator, a map like this, you can have complete catastrophes. Antonio breaking as well. It's now just 2-1, and with the recoveries from Pain and MX-10,000, the combos are going to be pretty evened out now.
Yeah, those little awkward, kind of more linear aims, diff spikes are not what you're used to seeing in a Nomad 1, and they definitely can catch you out, as you said. Creator and Antonio both getting hit by that bug. Still the 2 FCs, you've got Mahmood and Hanori holding the full combo for bottom gear. Doomsday Fanboy matching one of them. But as you alluded to, those big recovery combos starting to be built up by the Irishmen, and that lead is gonna work its way, I think, onto their side. I believe that is an overall combo advantage by a small margin for the Korean team.
I believe so. The pressure is on Hanori and Mahmood. It's a slight lead for Irishmen 3, but all it takes is one combo from either team to drop.
Another one of these diff spikes. We'll see if there's any breaks in these jumps, and no, there are not. Everybody making it through the second Ki, and they'll get a break. They'll get to see the scores here. It is 7,500, 8,000, somewhere in their points separating the teams. Very, very close battle on this pick. Those FCs are so crucial for bottom gear. Hanori and Mahmood gotta keep holding because those recovery combos for Irishmen are big.
With some acrobs, it's really up to who misses here.
Take a deep breath into this last Ki. It's going to be Hanori to break on the jumps. Misses a couple times after out of frustration. The shakes. That is... Oh, he is gone.
No.
Get it back together, Hanori. But that is just going to be instant lead over to the Irishman now. That's a huge amount of combo gone. Now, MX-10,000 does trade it. Antonio and Doomsday Fanboy now trade. This last Ki is probably the hardest part of the entire map. As the song hits its crescendo, you've got Restia, Pain, Mahmood, and Creator, which is basically identical combo across all of them. This is still not over yet.
I think if bottom gear wants to take this, especially with Mahmood breaking, matched by Restia, it's just Creator, but Pain with more combo. I think unfortunately that chain miss from Hanori tanked the score a little bit too much to recover from here. Looks like the Irishman 3 once again will get another breakpoint.
That's in just brutal fashion too. I mean, anybody other than Creator holding on to some more combo in that last quarter of the map for bottom gear could have won that for them. Only 100k margin of victory, and like you said, Hanori with the chain miss and the 50s and everything dropped his score down a bit as well. The ending of that map just gets you sometimes, despite Mahmood top scoring the lobby with the 814k, just 791k on Pain, 736k on Doomsday Fanboy. It's just a little bit too much for the other members of bottom gear to handle. And so that's going to be the second breakpoint of this match. It is going to be a 5-2 lead for the Irishmen, and match points the rest of the way through. They've got 3 opportunities to close this out before a potential tiebreaker. Their own pick to come. It's going to be their first non-Hard Rock pick, as they have gone Hard Rock 1, Hard Rock 3, Hard Rock 2 so far. So where are they going to go now that they have to do something different? They've got a couple DT options, a couple Nomad options, even a free mod option as well to choose from.
Yeah, I mean, if they... they banned Nomad 5, so presumably they don't want to play speed, but there's really no real speed left. You have DT1 and DT3, which have some tapping elements, but more so finger control, nothing stamina draining. Honestly, I could imagine them going free mod 1. They have a great hidden player, they have a great hard rock player, they've done very well on the ult. So I could imagine a free mod 1 pick. Other than that, though, you have they don't have much. You have Nomad 4, Nomad 2, which are pretty different from what we've seen so far. So if they want to stick to what they know to be strong at, I think free mod 1's the answer.
Yeah, free mod 1, a good option. The other maps, we just haven't really seen anything. I mean, if they're comfortable with 10.3, I think DT1 could be another option because their aim has looked pretty solid. So that, I think, is there as well. But yeah, other than that, DT3, Nomad 2, Nomad 4 are just skill sets that we haven't seen at all in this match. So unpredictable for those other options.
They go free mod 1, though, so they presumably agree with the logic. They've won an ult, so go ult again, and they have the mod players that can play this pretty well. You had Restia, who FC'd on the Hard Rock 3, so I imagine they just pick Hard Rock again. Kersey so far looked really, really good on the hidden too, so could just play the hidden, and then the rest of the team can kind of just go whatever. Probably Nomad.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's interesting for bottom gear though, because I think from what it seemed like, their best hidden and their best hard rock is the same player, who's creator. Obviously, popped off on the hidden 2 and the hidden 1. I think was the best performer on at least one of the hard rocks. So for the team, so it's a little bit rough for bottom gear because you kind of would almost want to have two. You'd want to duplicate creator and then have him on the hidden and the hard rock.
Yeah, I think he was like a middle of the road score on the hard rocks. It looks like was creator that I think he's got. I think you want him. Wait, let me look at the hidden one score. I think you want him on the hidden.
Oh, I mean,
you definitely want him on the hidden. 100%. Yeah, I think for hard rock, maybe. With this being an alt map, maybe you go like. Do you ever go Ryu hard rock? I don't even know, to be honest. Or maybe you go Mahmood hard rock. And well, we're gonna go. Wait, why does this? Oh, because he's Minion Pepsi. That's right. I was like, why don't I see creator in this? And it's because his name isn't updated on the website. He's actually Nomad. So he's their best hard rock player. He's their best hidden player, but they're gonna put him on Nomad because he's their best overall player, and that's just your like anchor player on free mod, where you just have them FC with Nomad.
It's gonna be Pain on the hard rock for Irishmen 3. Makes sense considering the hard rock 1 reverse choke. Spectre on the hidden. Next 10,000 Restia on the Nomad. Surprised not to see Doomsday Fanboy in for the Nomad, considering the Nomad 3 FC. Obviously, these are two pretty different alt maps, but still, I would say similar enough to have the overlap. Ryu on the hidden, Nomad for hard rock. But so far, early lead for Irishmen.
It's the small advantage. You do still have a double FC on Ryu and Hinori. Although Hinori breaks as a trade with Pain. So Restia, big combos on Spectre and MX-10,000 breaking right at the start. And that's going to be a pretty sizable amount of combo advantage, really. Hinori continuing to struggle a little bit on aim stuff in this match. Had that kind of blunder on the Nomad one. Has a little trouble with a couple of aim patterns in this one. We'll see if he can lock that down. Spectre, though, goes as well, so that lead not going to be all that big for Irishmen. The door is still open to bottom gear for a comeback in this one, with the gap only being 35k.
Yeah, there's a chance here. It's just those two big combos for Irishmen. Lots of pressure on the Nomads. MX-10,000 breaking, so does Pain, but so does Hinori. However, that does leave quite a good combo lead for bottom gear, especially with Ryu on the hidden FC. Mamu does break. Understandable on the hard rock.
That's Ryu with the FC to match Restia creator on an unopposed combo. And of course, right as I say that, that is very sad for Ryu. Creator still on that large combo, but Restia matching and with superior accuracy as well, and some more backing combo for Irishmen. They're going to be able to build up a little bit more of a lead here coming into the home stretch, into the last third. There go Creator and Mahmood. That was the biggest combo on Creator for bottom gear, and that could spell disaster. I don't know what their chances are of coming back now. It's all in Restia just holding a bit longer, and Irishmen will most likely have this one in the bag.
Oh, Restia hitting that accelerated flow aim pattern. That's such a rough pattern to hit on combo, but Restia does it.
Restia and Pain hit it as well, by the way, so shout out to Pain with hard rock. That's even crazier, I think.
That is actually mental, yeah. I think MX-10,000 hit it as well, but it's not in a huge combo.
Yeah. And that's pretty much just going to be the map, and with it, the match. It's 300k lead, even with that break from Restia and Pain. Wow, that's just a big lead and no combo of note on bottom gear.
Yeah, I mean, well done from Irishmen 3, but bottom gear, I mean, they made these last couple wins from Irishmen a lot harder. Obviously, the Irishmen opened with some very dominant wins, like Hard Rock 1, Nomad 3, Hard Rock 3, but bottom gear in the back half of the match put on quite a performance, and they can definitely feel good about their fight here, especially considering the seeding difference.
Yeah, definitely not a bad performance by any means. There were a couple of one-sided picks, but a lot of this match did end up being relatively close. I mean, we had a 60k score map, for goodness sake. We had a 100k, sub 300k score difference on this one, despite that score from Restia, which really was just the difference maker. That's a crazy difference. 716k with the next best score being 424k. Restia putting the team on their back on that last pick. Irishmen will take the match 6-2. And they'll put themselves in a pretty good spot in this group with the 1-0 record and their match against the bottom seed in the group still to come tomorrow. So putting themselves in a good spot to look to advance just when it's only a 3-team group, right? Every single win is very, very important. It's big for the program.
Yeah,
or
but
the Irishmen.
Yeah, well fought from bottom gear. They still theoretically have a chance in the groups. I believe if Irishman
Yeah, it's top
does
2 go through
lose,
anyway, so.
Oh yeah, I mean, if top 2 goes through, yeah, considering their performance, yeah, I think they have a pretty good shot at getting through groups.
Yeah, they will obviously. It's gonna come down to who wins that last matchup for bottom gear versus black belt. Assuming that Irishmen beat black belt as well, it'll be bottom gear versus black belt that'll likely determine who goes through in the second position from this group. Irishmen with the win over the second seeded team in the group give themselves a good opportunity at coming out first, but still to be seen. Both of those matches remaining will be tomorrow: 14 UTC Irishmen versus black belt and 15:30 UTC bottom gear versus black belt. So we'll find out what teams go on now that we've got a match under our belts. Sorry, I hate myself.
Go.
Not a heavy day today, despite there being 12 matches in this stage. There's only 3 of them today and only 1 left now. So our last match is going to be in a couple hours. It's 18 UTC this afternoon. The remaining match for the day will be a Group D matchup: Manic Oreos versus Max Win. That one, 18 UTC to 3 hours from now before the next one. So get some snacks, get some drinks, go have some fun with your Saturday for a bit before you come back and watch some more group stage action. I feel I would like to thank everyone for watching. Vorty, a pleasure as always.
Yep.
I think that's going to do it.